Hi there YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So if you have been following around the internet traps, you probably would have seen some new Thomas merchandise that's kind of relaunched. And it's this here. It is the My First kind of Thomas range. They're back to some extent. And you can see that they have a very interesting look about them. Now, I originally had no desire to pick these up, but I saw them on special, all sitting there. First I saw them at Big W and I was like, oh, they're quite cute, you know. That's kind of one of my criteria for collecting Thomas and Friends merchandise. And then I saw them and they were 20% off at another retailer. And so I thought, you know what, YOLO. And so I picked up the entire first wave. And so starting that off, we're going to be taking a look here at Tomas, who we can see is bright and ready to go, hopefully. And so we're going to take a look at this one, see what it's all about, make some comparisons to some other Thomas and Friends lines which coexist at the moment with this one, and then talk about my final thoughts. What are we waiting for? Let's do it. Alright, we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into this packaging before I open it up, because it's the first time that I have looked at these items on my channel. You can see here, yep, you can see the price. I did buy these from Maya. I did not pay $15. I got them 20% off. You can see again, we got the Thomas and Friends branding here. My First Thomas, 1.5 plus. Wonder why it's a half. Push along, big orange in the corner. Picture of Thomas on the top there. They obviously are advertising the kind of wobble feature for whatever reason. We get a good picture of what Thomas looks like. Hello. We turn him around. Contrasting to the packaging that we normally see for most other Thomas and Friends stuff, we're actually now seeing a picture of someone playing with the item. Absolutely shook. Although again, you can see we've got the look for our show. It doesn't really tell us any more information though, which is a little bit frustrating. And if we turn it onto the bottom, you can see here that we have got the usual blah blah. It's amazing that they still use this little created by Britt Elfcroft logo. She really won out when she got them to include that on there in perpetuity as part of the licensing agreement, presumably. And I love this little Thomas barcode thing, gets me every time. So yeah, a little bit different packaging, and obviously we've got the open packaging style, so you can kind of get your hands in and really feel what this is like. I think this is a good move for this kind of toy because it lets you kind of get a tactile sense of what you are dealing with. Now we've done that, let's take a look and open this up and see what we get inside. All right, Thomas here is out of his packaging. Let's take a look at him. So, do the quick 360 shots. Come onto that face. Stunning, perfect, beautiful. We love it. This is a fantastic all engines go face in my view. Love how it looks on the front here. Obviously, we're missing the buffer detailing, but we do have this big, sturdy feeling coupling hook, so I can forgive that. If we come around, we also got the huge, they've really gone all in with this huge funnel, very exaggerated. Coming to the side, very chibi style squish proportions, but again, we're maintaining the sloped roof, which is a theme in the All Engines Go renditions of Thomas. Got a slight curve to it here. Only 4 wheels, nothing on the bottom. They do have big flanges on them, so there are some sets that appear to be going to release that go with these. Depending on how these videos go, depending on what your comments are, I might pick up the sets, particularly that James one that's been released, because it's the only way to get James. If you want me to keep checking these out after this series, please let me know. You can see you've got the coal in the back there, which, to be honest, doesn't look like coal. There's a bit of a weird shape, don't know what's going on there. And again, interesting they show the coal here because that isn't, for example, featured on the push-along Thomas as anywhere near as prominently as in this one. And then we come to the back, we've got the hook, and again, no buffer detailing. That is what it is. For a bit of a quick size comparison, this is the Thomas, and this is a push-along, which I just recently reviewed. You can see we're talking about, yeah, kind of like double the size in every dimension. But yeah, I really like this face. To me, just, you can't be sad when you're looking at that face. But you can see what is missing, and I think particularly missing from this is those whistles. That's a very iconic defining feature of the All Engines Go, is the exaggerated whistles, and I think it's a bit disappointing that that is missing from this, because otherwise I think it's captured all the details. We've got the details on the side, details on the back, we've got the exaggerated funnel, we've got the slope, which again is much more exaggerated on this. But it would be good to have the whistles on there. But otherwise, a very chunky toy. You want a little comparison again. Here's a Thomas Mini. So these are quite large, but they're very light. It's all plastic. There's no metal in this. I assume that is so that if kids throw them at each other's heads or the wall, you're not going to cause too much damage. Speaking of, although quickly, one last thing. So this is Thomas, which I've had on my desk for some time. Obviously more collector style Thomas, and you can see that they're about the same size. So if you have this Thomas, you will kind of know what you're getting in terms of size with this one. Then we come to the piece of rolling stock that we get. So that comes with 2 bits. They're meant to just stack. It seems like, I think too, that all the pieces are interchangeable. So we've got this book here with a Thomas on it. Interestingly, this is an old style Thomas. Like, this is not All Engines Go Thomas. This is kind of more CGI model series Thomas. So interested to know. I have this, again, I've only seen about the first 12 episodes of the show from season 1. So if someone wants to tell me that's in a reference to some episode, love to let me know in the comments. And then we've got some printing along here, which is interesting. Didn't expect that. The pages of the book, and then we've got a barrel. Again, maybe this is a reference to something in the show. Maybe it's just random. But yeah, these kind of sit on top of each other, but it's not a very secure fit. You can see that it just wobbles. And then we'll talk about that a bit more in a second. And you can see here we get this flat car. Again, it's got the kind of curved chassis like Thomas does. Nothing on the bottom. But what you will see is that these wheels are not centered, and I think that's intentional. So it means that when it rolls along, you can see that it really jiggles along, with my understanding being so that when you put this on here, it's already wobbly because the base is not flat and it's not secure, but when it's going along, let me connect up Thomas here. You can see that it's kind of rocking and rolling and everything's a bit chaos. The point of that, I actually don't know. Is that what 1-year-old kids want? They want things to be like rolling around like chaotically as all hell? Not clear to me. But I guess it's a very easy way of putting extra motion in without having gears or, making that these so that they can't be unstacked. But yeah, I mean, it's random. It's extremely random to have Thomas pulling these weird cargo things. Again, no idea if it's any reference to the show, but it's something. At least Thomas is actually pulling something for a change instead of the almost entire lack of rolling stock in the push along range at the moment. So, you got to take the small wins where you can get them. In terms of a value proposition, as you would have seen, this is a recommended retail price for 15 Australian dollars. I got them 20% off, so slightly cheaper than that. It was closer to 12. That feels not insane to me, because if you think about it, right, these are $6 each. So, 2 of these is the same price as that. And obviously you're getting a much more detailed, you're getting the die cast engines when you get these. They're also compatible with the track system. I don't know whether these would be. Oh, they might be. I'll have to do a little test and see if they're compatible with some track. We'll do that in the next shot. But yeah, in terms of a value proposition, I can see why 2 of these probably does equal this. I mean, obviously this is metal, but this is a lot more volume. So I don't think the value is terrible, but equally, if you can get these on sale, if you want to collect them, I think that's good. Obviously, my preference would be just to have them sell the engines, because that's what I really want. Like, it's so cute. It's very, the cute factor is extremely high with this. But I can see why they've packed in the carriage, and I think that does add a lot of play value, even if it doesn't appeal to me personally. Like, all these carriages are going to go in my storage bin. It will be the actual little engines that I want to collect and have on display. But each to their own. It is a kid's toy. So now we've reviewed this first one. I'd love you to let me know what you think in the comments down below as we move through looking at the rest of the engines in this Wave 1 series. That's all we've got time for, except for a little track test. But otherwise, thanks for watching. This is Extreme Trains. Hopefully you've all got time to stick around for this test. In a shocking turns of events, yes, this is Thomas track compatible. It's obviously a little bit janky, but it definitely works, which is more than we can say for that period of time where there was like 5,000 different track systems and none of them were compatible. Someone at Mattel has finally got the memo. Let's see what the wobble truck is like. Yeah, okay. This doesn't work so well because of the way the wheels wobble along the track. Like it kind of works when there's no cargo on it, but it doesn't work that great. But the engines at least do run on Thomas Wooden Railway, I should say, 2022 track, which also means it will run on Trackmaster track because they are now all standardized. And as talking about previous videos, you can also run these engines on this track too. So that is a win. I'm very glad to see that they are all at least semi-intercompatible, which is fantastic, even if this track is perhaps not very much longer left on this earth. But that is a story for another video. So what are we waiting for? Thanks for watching. This is Extreme Trains.